Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be reviewing the Eonon UA13, which is an Android head unit. Now I know this channel lately has been more so about photography and photography adventures, but you may have seen a recent video of mine where I bought this van here. It's a 2000 model Toyota Hiace Super Custom. I'm going to be converting it into a camper van, and I did say I was going to keep you up to date with the progress. And one of the most important things that I find when driving long distances is having a really good radio or head unit that has GPS and all the modern features like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and things like that. So this has both wired and wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is really good. Now Eonon actually sent me this head unit, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Obviously they didn't know that I needed one, but what happened is I've had Eonon head units over the last 15 years, a lot of them, and me and my family have also had quite a few in our cars. My other car that's parked right over there, that's had the same Eonon head unit nearing 10 years now, and it's been absolutely awesome. They're really well priced, they work really well, they're full of features, and yeah, I've been really happy with them. So I've paid for all my Eonon head units in the past, but I did reach out to them this time and I said, would you maybe consider a discount or something like that if I was to review the head unit, which I would have bought anyway. And they just said, we'll send you one as long as you do the review. And I was like, more than happy with that, because I probably would have reviewed it anyway, and I probably would have paid for a full price for it anyway, because like I said, I've bought quite a few of these in the past, and I've been really happy with them. Not this exact head unit, but different models of Eonon, ones that purposely fit BMWs and things like that. But yeah, so what we're going to do in this video, give this a really quick unboxing, then show you an install. Now just keep in mind the install may be different depending on your car. It does have a standard ISO pin, which I'll show you, that should plug into most cars, but sometimes you might need an adapter, or if you know what you're doing, you can actually just cut the cables and splice them into the Eonon harness. But hopefully this one just plugs in, because I'm pretty sure it does have an ISO connector. Yeah, this is a Japanese import, so there are some little weird things up the front there, but we'll get to those when we're doing the install. So let's get to the unboxing, and then we'll get onto the install and review. All right, so here we are. This is the box it came in. We'll just have a quick look over the box. It's pretty plain, just says Eonon in-car entertainment, and over here there's a label that gives us a little bit more information. So it is an Eonon UA13, which is their Android car radio. It's running Android 13. And there's the CPU details. It's a quad-core CPU with 2 gig of RAM and 32 gig of storage, and it is a 7-inch IPS touchscreen. Yeah, so it's about all that it says on the box, apart from just this kind of stuff. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted an Android head unit and not just something random is because if I'm in the middle of nowhere and I can't get any reception on my phone, then Google Maps and things like that will be useless. But at least with Android, I can install a offline maps, so something like Sigic or something like that, and just have offline maps, so I don't need reception for that. But anyway, let's continue with the unboxing, and I'll show you another reason why I was going to buy this head unit and why I actually love this head unit as opposed to a lot of the others once we get it out. So that's the actual head unit. We'll look at that last. And then there's a separate little box in here. I'm assuming this is where all the harnesses will be and cables and things like that. There we go. There's a manual there in the bottom too. And I'll go through these really quickly. Alright, so it looks like we get a packet of screws. This will be to mount the head unit to the bracket or to the car. Obviously every car is going to be different. This here looks like the harness, so I assume that this goes into the Eonon and this will go into the factory plug. Like I said, your factory plug may be different, so you may need to get an adapter, or you may need to do some wire splicing and changes and things like that. That's that. Then this looks like it's for the reverse camera, potentially. Yep, this is the backup camera loom, so if you don't have a backup camera, you don't have to plug that in. I have one in here, but it's wired a bit weirdly, so I'm just going to have to work out that once the rest of the head unit is kind of installed. This is the GPS antenna, so we'll run that up. This is the CarPlay or Android Auto USB port, so I'm going to run that maybe into the glove box or somewhere out of the glove box so I can plug that in. Because even though it's wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, I do prefer to plug it in because it charges the phone at the same time. So I usually plug it in. This right here looks like it's for, I don't know what that is. It's some kind of audio out, I think. Yeah, must be audio out for something. I'm not sure what that is, but I probably won't end up using that. This right here is if you have a front camera, video in, a whole bunch of things here, external microphone, which will most likely run. when you're talking on the phone and things like that. Subwoofer out, which I won't be using, but yeah. So there's a few things on here that we'll be using and some that we won't. This is just the normal USB ports right here. So I think you can put USB sticks and things like that for music. I'll probably run these, but I'll just keep them tucked up behind the dashboard, because I don't really think, other than the CarPlay stuff, I don't really think I'll be plugging anything in with USB. And this right here looks like a microphone, so that's perfect. We'll run that up as well, and we'll just get clearer calls. I believe the head unit itself has a microphone in it, but they're usually not that good, and the closer you can get this microphone to your face, the better. So that's all that's in there, apart from the head unit, which we'll now have a really quick look at. Really nice package, by the way. And this got here super quick. I think they shipped it on, it was like Thursday night, and it's now Monday, and it was here. If it wasn't for the weekend, I think it would have came on, like it would have come in 2 or 3 days. Very fast. Alright, whoops. So, there it is. Very, very nice looking head unit. Now, one of the reasons why I was going to buy one of these, I keep saying gonna buy, is because I would have paid for this whether they sent it to me or not. But one of the reasons I really wanted one of these is because it has a rotary dial for the volume. So you can actually, it's actually got a turning knob, rather than some of them have volume up and down buttons, which I don't really like. I've got the head unit in my other car has that. It's not an Eonon, I think it's a Sony. It's okay, but I do much prefer a rotary dial just like this. But you can see there's also some USB ports on the front here. So there's a power button, USB-C, so that's really awesome for super fast charging. I don't know if I want to plug my phone into the actual face of the head unit, but like I said, I'll probably plug it into the other USB plug adapter and use that for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and charge the phone at the same time. There is a normal USB slot there, auxiliary, so you can plug something in using a 3.5mm jack just there. That's about it. Really nice. And there's obviously where everything plugs in at the back there. So now that we've done the unboxing, let's get on to the install. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing going. Alright, so I'm going to show you how easy this is to install. Now, it's obviously going to depend on your car. What I had to buy was this here, which is something that you may need as well. This is a harness that converts your basically factory plugs into an ISO standard plug, which is the one that uses the Eonon head unit uses. So I'll show you what I've got going on here. These two here are the factory plugs, and you can see I've plugged these two things in, and they go down into these two plugs, 1, 2, that plug into the Eonon harness just like that. Oops, just like that. So ignore all the other stuff. A lot of this, it's got a lot of aftermarket stuff in this, so I'm gonna have to play around with that. This car did originally have some kind of adapter like this, but all the wires were backwards. So make sure you double check that, because the last thing you want to do is put power somewhere where it isn't supposed to be, and you might actually blow up the head unit or damage something else. So just double check that, you know, if this one's yellow and it's for the accessories wire, make sure it's also the accessories wire on the Eonon side of things. Yeah, and maybe even just get a wiring diagram for your car if you can. But yeah, these adapters are really handy. So this one, like I said, this is for a Toyota. This is a Toyota Hiace, but you can get these for all sorts of different cars, and they just convert your standard harness into an ISO plug, just like this one here. And it's made it really easy. The head unit powers on and everything. It's perfect. That's all there is to install it for the most part, and obviously your antenna. But what I'm going to do now is plug in and wire in all the extra stuff I want, like the USB cables, the GPS antenna, all that kind of thing, and then I'll give you a rundown of when it's all set up, ready to go, and I'll give you my review. Alright, the head unit's in. It's been installed for quite a few days now, and I just wanted to film this part at night because it's easier to film the screen when there's not any sun glare and things like that. So I've come to a car park, we can film the screen. Just a couple of things I thought I'd mention before we get onto that, just in terms of the installation. It's pretty normal, but Eonon don't actually run the illumination wire into the harness. So for me, if they did run it, it would have been in the right place and the headlights and stuff would have worked. In other words, when you turn the headlights on, the head unit's supposed to dim, and it's got like a light or two on it that's supposed to light up. They don't run that wire, and there's probably a good reason. It's probably because maybe a lot of cars don't actually have that wire in the right place, so they don't want to run it there in case someone just plugs it in and blows something up. So that's understandable. So that's really all I had to do was yeah, run the illumination wire to the one that's existing in the car, basically. Now, if you remember, I actually did buy the Air Pro harness, which made this a lot easier. So I suggest you do the same thing. If the Eonon head unit doesn't plug directly into your head unit, in some cars it will, because it does use a standard ISO connector. I believe at the start of the video I showed that and I had it the wrong way around. I said this was the car end and this was the head unit end, but it was the other way around. I'll put some text over that. But basically that harness made it a lot easier to install, and mine would have just plugged straight in, but for some reason the harness that someone else had put in this previous to the maybe the last head unit, that was completely opposite. So the power wire was on, let's say, pin 1, whereas on the Eonon unit it was on the other side. That's not exactly, I'm just saying that's kind of how it was. Everything was backwards. So nothing to do with Eonon, just to do with the car, and it's going to depend on your car. So I suggest, like I said, that you do buy one of those harnesses if you can. Otherwise, you can also just splice it into your factory harness if you know the wire colors and things like that. But yeah, install was very, very easy. Like I said, it would have just plugged in if it wasn't for whoever installed this head unit last, or whoever owned this car previous to me. But with the AirPro harness, it plugged in. The only thing I had to do was run that illumination wire, and I think that was about it. I plugged my reverse camera in, my USB port things, all that kind of stuff. Ran a microphone up the pillar, basically somewhere up here. And yeah, very, very easy. Probably one of the easiest head units, honestly, that I've ever had to install. Most I've had to do some extra wiring and things too, but this, yeah, really straightforward, really easy. So basically anyone can do it. The hardest part is actually taking the car apart, so and putting it back together. Anyway, let's now jump onto the review. As I said, I've had this for a few days. I've been really happy with it so far, but I'm going to show you the screen and go through a few of the functions. And then what I'm going to do, if I remember, maybe in 6 months or 3 months, 6 months, or a year's time, I will do a follow-up review, like a long-term review, just to let you know if I'm still happy with it, if everything's still working. Because as I said, I've only been using it it's only been installed for a few days now. So yeah, again, I'm really happy with it, but you never know what will happen. So yeah, let's jump in. I'll show you some of the features of the head unit, and yeah, that's it. Alright, so this is it installed in the car. It looks absolutely fantastic. This is the home screen right here. What I'm going to do is just put my headlights on, just so you can see the illumination, and the screen should dim as well. There you go, so screen dims, this little icon lights up here. I think that's the only light on the head unit. Turn the headlights off again. Now the cool thing about this head unit as well, I think it's pretty common amongst most Android head units. If you swipe down from the top, you have all the usual Android stuff, so the brightness, the volume, Wi-Fi connections, Bluetooth, the equalizer, screensaver. You can set all these up as well, however you like. One thing I really like though, you can see the brightness is currently up to there, which is full. But if we turn the headlights on, you'll see the brightness goes down. Now you can set what you want the brightness to be when the headlights are off and when they're on, which is really nice, because this might be a little bit too bright while you're driving, so at least you can have it really dim. And as you can see, it goes full brightness when the headlights come off, and back to where we wanted it. I don't know why, it should be there. I think it's the same. Back to where we had it when the headlights are on. It also automatically switches to the dark theme at nighttime, or when your headlights are on. This is why it's really important to wire that illumination wire. Anyway, that's swiping down. Now one thing I love about this head unit, as I said at the start of this review, was the rotary dial, the volume knob, which works really, really well. It's also made the audio quality in this van sound a million times better. The factory head unit, not factory head unit, whatever head unit was in this before, it was a Japanese one. Didn't sound that great. I thought it was just the speakers, but once I put this in, there was a drastic improvement in sound quality. The head unit that came with this was probably 15 years old or something, so that explains that. But yeah, this is the home screen here. So in the top left here, you have your radio. Bottom left is the time, and you have some car information. Now, I don't know if this does the speed. I haven't actually looked at that. I think it might only do that if this head unit is hooked up through your CAN bus, or you have one of those Bluetooth OBD adapters or something like that. Top right there you have your maps, and the bottom right you just have some quick access menu that you can kind of put whatever you like there. So I'll put Z-Link 5. That's basically what Android Auto and CarPlay is. YouTube, voice search, CIGIC, which is my offline map. So if I'm ever somewhere where I don't have phone reception, I can use CIGIC, which is offline maps. It doesn't use Wi-Fi or data, which is good. And I've got the equalizer at the end there. There's also normally a quick menu that pops out of the side. You can also map some apps there, but I actually got rid of that because I preferred it out of the way. First thing is, I guess we'll jump on the radio, which works perfectly fine. Obviously I plugged the antenna in. I won't play too much because I'll get copyright strike from the music, but that all works really, really well, as you'd expect. That's just the radio, so pretty simple. It tells you what's playing as well, which is really nice. That's about it. Nothing much more with the radio. I don't really listen to the radio these days. Again, that's the map. And what should we go into? Let's go into maybe the app menu and we'll see what's there. Actually, let's go to the settings. So in the settings here, you just have, we'll go to the start, internet, which is basically Wi-Fi, hotspot and tethering. These are some device settings here, like apps, notifications, things like that. All this stuff's pretty, it looks really nice, but it's all pretty standard Android kind of things. Yeah, system stuff, system updates, factory reset, all that type of thing. And in assembly is where you'll find things that are probably more helpful, like radio settings, camera settings, so if you need to flip your reverse camera and things like that, and panel LED control, which is whether the, I believe that's whether the head unit dims and how it dims, whether it's by the headlight or by power. So mine's set to headlight, which obviously, again, dims it and turns the light on the head unit. CAN bus settings, I'm not sure, well, I know what this does, but this doesn't do anything in this car because there was no CAN bus adapter for this specific car. That's the settings. Obviously, I won't go into them too much. It's going to depend on what you want to do. Let's go here, this icon here. I don't know if you can see my hand because it is dark, but this icon in the middle, I'll show you again. This one right here where my finger is, hopefully you can see the shadow. That's the, this just opens basically your apps. So you have auxiliary, which you can plug things in the back of this, so you can run an aux lead out, or the cool thing is on the actual face of the head unit, it does have an auxiliary jack there as well. So I don't really use auxiliary stuff anymore these days, but if you did, you could plug it directly in the front of the head unit, or you could have a wire kind of hidden under the dash that you plug in whenever you want. Bluetooth, that's just where you set up and connect your phone, obviously. Now this unit does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto through Bluetooth, but also wired. Now, I like wired because it charges the phone at the same time, but it works flawlessly nonetheless with whatever method you do. As soon as I jump in the car, it connects via Bluetooth and it takes me to the screen, which I'll show you later. Bluetooth music, that's just to play music over Bluetooth, which again, I don't really use because I'm using Android Auto. Car info, this is another thing that you would only really use if you had a CAN bus plugged in, so the head unit could read some data on your car. Chrome, obviously that's just the internet browser. EQ, equalizer, File Explorer. FOTA, I think that's to do with firmware updates and things like that. Gallery, obviously you can look at photos. Then you've got Google. GPS monitor just tells you how many satellites you're connected to and things like that, which is good because, as I said, this has a GPS antenna, which is cool because you're not relying on your data. If you want to use certain apps, you don't have to use your data, basically. You can use it offline. Maps, that's Google Maps right there. Mobile mirroring, that can just mirror whatever's on your phone on your head unit screen. Music, Netflix, panel light color, so you can change the color of this little home icon here. I've just changed it to green so it kind of matches the rest of the interior of this car. That's the Play Store, so you can download any Android apps you like. I mean, most of them should work. I downloaded Sigic, which is, I'll show you in a second, that's my offline maps software or app. Radio, screensaver, settings, which we went to before. There's Sigic. Theme is where you can set the theme for the radio. There's like a few themes. I like this one. Talk, if you have an OBD2 Bluetooth, or I think it's Bluetooth adapter, you can check on stuff in your car, like I don't know, you might be able to see the speed you're going or your coolant temperature and things like that. I'd love to get that working on this, but I'm not sure if it will because this is a diesel high ace. I don't know if it uses CAN bus or something different. I'm going to have to look into that. Then you get a video player, voice search, wallpaper, YouTube, and Z-Link 5 again, which is the Android Auto / CarPlay thing. So that's about it for the head unit. It's quite basic in a good way. Everything's where you want it. It hasn't got real overly annoying kind of menus and things like that. It's very, very simple. And the thing I like most is most of the time I'm in the Android Auto or CarPlay kind of menu, which I'm going to show you right now. So I've got this set up so when I jump in the car and I turn the car on, it automatically connects to my phone via Bluetooth and will open Android Auto. But because I've come out of that and I've pressed the home button, we now have Z-Link 5, which you can tap here. And if we tap on that, there we go. So this is now Android Auto. Obviously, if you have CarPlay, it'll look a little bit different. I've got it set up so the menu here is on the right. This is my Spotify. You can obviously go full screen with either of these as well. So we'll go full screen Spotify. You just tap on that. And then you can always go back to your maps. And that's full screen on the maps there. And back to split screen, just like that. So yeah, you've got all the normal stuff you'd have in Android Auto, like Google Maps or whatever map software you like to use, Spotify, the phone, and settings. And you also got microphones, so you can obviously ask it to play you certain songs or take you to certain places and things like that. And of course, you've got all your apps, but this is all normal Android Auto stuff and CarPlay stuff. So It's going to be similar or the same, obviously, for everyone that's using this. And yeah, it works very, very, very well. The whole head unit, I must say, has been absolutely faultless. There's been no lagging, nothing like that. It's very fast. Everything has been really good. Now, as I said, I will do a review in maybe 3 or 6 months, or maybe even a year. More of a long-term review and let you know how it's still going. But so far, it has been absolutely faultless. Been absolutely over the moon with it. And as I said, Eonon did send me this to do this review free of charge. But even if they didn't, I was going to buy it anyway, because as I said, I'm a pretty big fan of Eonon. I've had a lot of their head units over the years, and I've always been really, really happy with them. So, yeah, still, the fact they gave it to me, it's not going to sway my opinion or make me tell you anything differently. The head unit is absolutely awesome. It's really brought this car into I wouldn't say the future, into the present, because the head unit that I had before was very, very old. It was all in Japanese. I couldn't even use it anyway. But yeah, that's Android Auto. I'm going to show you Cigic now, which is the app that I use. I just press the home button then. Cigic's the app I use if I want to use maps offline. So let's say I'm out in the middle of nowhere, which is the purpose of this camper van, and I don't have phone reception. At least I can still find my way around using Cigic right here. So there we go. It's found us, and you can just put in an address just like normal. And I think that's about it for the head unit, honestly. It's just very simple in a good way. There's, yeah, like, I've had other head units in the past where there's like 1,000 menus to find things, and these home screens look really ugly, but this just looks really nice. And it's like, I wouldn't say it looks factory, because obviously this is an older car, so this probably would have just had a simple CD player, but it just looks really, really nice and neat, and everything just works as it should. Bluetooth's really nice. The Bluetooth audio quality is really good. I use the microphone that Eonon provided, and I just ran that up the pillar, up the A pillar, and yeah, it works really well. I'm trying to think of anything else, but I think that's about it. I'm really, really happy with it. So that sums up the review. Again, over the moon with this thing, and I will do a follow-up review in 3 months or 6 months or a year. Maybe remind me in the comments, because I'll probably forget. But yeah, I will put a link in the description below where you can get one of these. They did give me a discount code for you guys if you want to use it. I don't earn anything from it. They did ask me to sign up to their affiliate program, but it was a bit of a pain, and honestly, I'd rather not do that, because if I don't have any, it just means, obviously, you know, I'm being honest, I don't need any monetary kind of gain to promote this. I don't really care whether you buy it or not, but if you're looking for something like this, an Android head unit, I wouldn't go past this. It's also a great price too, that's the other thing. So they do a few different types of models. They do a Linux version, I believe, but I told them I really wanted Android because of the whole offline maps and some of the other apps that I use are Android. So yeah, just 2 massive thumbs up for this. I'm very, very happy with it, and I highly recommend you get one if you want a doubled in head unit with all the good stuff like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and that for me these days is a must. I love just being able to plug my phone in, Spotify works, everything just works. It's awesome. So yeah, that sums up my review. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions at all about the head unit, hopefully I haven't missed anything, but if you have any questions at all, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll answer them as best as possible. And just a huge massive thank you to Eonon for actually sending this out. As I said, I was going to buy one anyway, but I thought I'm just going to contact them and ask them if they would maybe even just give me a discount for reviewing it, because I've reviewed quite a few of their units in the past, and those videos have had a lot of views. And they checked out my channel and they came back to me and said, we'll send you one. So I'm like, that's awesome. So yeah, massive shout out to Eonon. They didn't have to do that. I would have been happy with the discount, but yeah, absolutely love their head units. As I said, I've had a lot of them over the years, and they've all been really good. I've been absolutely, yeah, just blown away with it, just like all the others. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.